Now this next position I'm going to show you is super exciting for grapplers, right? Because this is a very easy position to get into that everybody gets into at least a couple times in every match. So that means you always have an opportunity to use a Kimura trap, right? And I'm talking about the turtle position or just when the man is on his fours, okay? So both for MMA and for grappling, very easy to get into. Let me show you how you can set the Kimura trap from the fours. Okay. Let's go ahead and break this down. So, the man's on his fours, whether I sprawl him out, okay, or he just ended up here, boom. Okay, so I have him on his fours like this. All right, so first thing I want to do, I want to get off to the side, make an angle, all right? The way I'm going to do this, okay, you could do this a lot of ways, all right, but the one that I love to do is from a front headlock, okay? All I'm going to do here, I'm going to make my front headlock this way. Okay, so one of my arms is going to come over his armpit. My other arm is going to come between his neck and his shoulder, right here. Boom. Okay. Once I have this locked, I'll use a gable grip. Okay, meaning that I have both my hands closed. I'll turn 190 degrees, lock it over. Boom, boom. Okay. I'll position my hands, right, so they come more towards his elbow, and then I'll pinch, boom, right here. Okay, so now at this point, I've controlled his arms, and if you notice, I have a space between his knee and his elbow. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna circle, and I'm gonna bring this knee right in between here, boom. Okay, we angle off a little bit here. You can notice now my knee is wedged in between his leg and his elbow. As I'm making that switch, okay, when I'm here, I look for the Kimura on the far side. Okay, so you can see now that I have this Kimura right here. Okay, so once I have the Kimura here, all right, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dig my heel into the mat, and I'm gonna pull back with my Kimura grip, like I'm gonna keep it to my chest, and I'm gonna fall back. Boom. Okay, now we're back, all right, into the Kimura trap position, TV, right, and we're ready to go. Now, we also have another option here, okay? And when I do the same setup, okay, so get my front headlock, circle, get my Kimura. Sometimes this person might be bracing themselves because you might have done this before. So when you try to pull him back, he's resisting. Okay, so when he resists, I'm gonna go forward. And I'll bring him back into the Kimura trap. Okay. So everything here is very similar. The mechanics are all the same. When I have him in the fours, I lock my Kimura. I try to pull him back, he's resisting. I'm just gonna do a perfect forward roll. All right, so all I'm doing, tucking my chin in, all right, I'm gonna roll completely in front of him. And as I roll, I pull with my Kimura to get him over. Here, boom. And I pull to throw him right through. So that was setting up the Kimura trap from the fours. Let's go over some common mistakes people make when setting up the Kimura trap from the fours. So I have my man on the fours here. Okay. First off, when we're using our front headlock, okay, again, I want to go from one side of his neck, other side of the shoulder, lock, okay. I want to create the gap for this knee here. A lot of people think that they're trying to throw the hooks in, right? So when they come in, they're circling like this, okay? And they put the wrong knee inside, okay? For this particular technique, I want this knee in, okay, right here. Once I have this, okay, I want to make the Kimura on the far side, okay, lock it up, and I want to step with my foot in front. All right, and this step here is important. If this leg is back, and if he's giving you some resistance, okay, if he gives me resistance here, this will be harder to pull him over, all right? But when you put this foot high up here, now I have something where I can push, okay? So now here, I can power in, okay, to bring him back. Okay? So that was for the falling back, right? For the forward roll Kimura trap, when I lock it up, what's important is to use first you want resistance. Like I always want to pull him back first. Only when he resists the pullback, then do I forward roll. Okay, so if I'm here, I try to pull him first, he resists, I'm going to feed off that resistance and roll through. Boom. Okay? And what's important is that as I'm rolling through, I'm using my grip, all right, to push and pull him over. Okay, so when I'm here, boom. All right, so when you time it together, you're getting the momentum of your forward roll plus the yank of the arm to finish the Kimura trap. All right, so those are some common mistakes people make when setting up the Kimura trap from the fours. Now I'm going to show you how to set up the Kimura trap from the top position. All right, so my opponent is going to be on his back in an open guard, and I'm going to set up what I call the diving Kimura trap. All right, so let me show you how this looks like. Let's go ahead and break it down. So I'm going to be standing over my opponent, right? And I'm going to throw the ankles by first. Okay, so I'll come in, boom. I'll go immediately to try to establish that knee on belly. All right, and naturally when you get the knee on belly, man's going to be defending, but what you're looking for is this far arm here to push you away. So when I get in here and he starts scooting out, I'm going to attack this arm. All right, so I'm going to just make my Kimura in mid-air. And I'm going to lock here, I'm going to reach through, and I'm going to dump my hips, boom, right over his head. Okay, disclaimer here, all right? If when you're doing this with somebody that you like a training partner, you don't want to dump your hips directly on his face. Right? You can probably break the guy's nose. It's going to be a lot of weight on him. All right, so for training purposes, you can sort of slide over the top of his head here. Okay, so when I'm doing it, okay, with Jason, all right, and when I throw the legs by, get in, he defends, boom, I dump over right there, and then immediately there's gonna be some space. I gotta close the space right away and scoot in. Now, if I was doing this in a fight, all right, or in a grappling competition, when I would throw the legs by, here, step in, I would dump my hips directly over his head, all right? So if I did it in slow-mo, I'd come in, boom, crush, right here, and then roll off and get to the side, okay? And it's a little dirty to do, all right, if you're doing it with a training partner, but in a competition, that would be the ideal way of setting this up, all right? So this is the diving Kimura trap. Let's go over some common mistakes people make when setting up the diving Kimura trap. Okay, so on the top of my opponent, again, what I want to do first is set up a guard pass. I don't just want to try to dive right from in front of him, all right? Because you're going to have all the legs to encounter you, and there's a lot to cover, all right? A lot of distance to cover. So I want to do my ankle throw by, boom, get on the belly. Because what I'm looking for is that arm to come out, all right? If that arm doesn't come out, it stays there, then this is a technique that you don't want to get into yet. But if he's not bringing that arm out, that means you probably have a very good chance of just passing and, you know, just take the pass, all right? But, you know, so if I come here, boom, I get in. Now the arm's there, okay? Now I can hunt for the arm, okay? The thing is, you want to attack the arm. I'll be able to grab the wrist, right? But this hand has to be made in midair, okay? I can't try to do it from here, right? You gotta commit to it. So this is a move that you gotta go with. You can't just like half-ass it, you know, you gotta go all the way through, right? So when I jump through, boom, okay? I lock it, I have everything tight. Now the final thing that you can mess up on is not closing the distance, okay? Because when I jump through, I'm naturally gonna fall a little bit over him. Okay, right now you can notice here, there is space between his body and my head. And if I just stay here, all right, he'll be able to turn, all right? He could kick over. There's lots of ways he can escape, all right? So I gotta immediately close the distance, get behind him. Now, if he had his head already tucked into the mat and I couldn't slide underneath him, then you would want to roll over and get the side mount, all right? All I would have to do here is just put my head in the mat and kick my right leg over here. Boom. Get the side control, all right? I can step over his head and attack with the Kimura. So those were some common mistakes that can be made when doing the diving Kimura trap. Okay, this next pin I'm going to show you is very unique and you're not going to see it anywhere else. And I call it the Avalon pin. All right, and it's an adaptation of the crucifix that makes it much more deadly. All right, because he won't have any possibility of escape, and you'll have a submission finish. And I'm going to show you particularly how to take the back off of the Avalon pin. So let's go ahead and finish. Let's go ahead and break down the Avalon pin. All right, so we're starting like before. From the TV position, I set up my crucifix, okay? And now I'm in control, got my dominant position, I can start hitting here. When I want to get into the Avalon pin, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to control his wrist and pull it up to my hip. And now my top leg is just going to come over, hook at the knee, okay, and I can pull the leg in, and I'll make a figure four. Okay, and this here is the Avalon pin. All right, you can see I got half of his body completely locked. His arm and his leg are caught within my triangle. I have his other arm caught here, so now I can rain down elbow strikes. You know, in MMA, that would be the thing to do. Just boom, grind out the finish right here. He can't scoot away anymore because I have him anchored with my leg. So he's pretty much stuck, all right? And in all my training and everybody's used this, I've never seen someone get out of this. It's just a done deal, all right? But if we're grappling and we need a submission finish, this is where the Avalon pin is superior to the crucifix, all right? Because what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get this hand, I'm gonna come underneath his neck, and I'm gonna grind it through, all right? It's not gonna be friendly, okay? And you're gonna also see, I'm gonna use my shoulder to push his head in. Here, boom, okay? So there's a lot of neck pressure as I'm sinking in a choke. Okay, here, boom. If I can reach the far shoulder and this side, great, okay? And I could finish just like I would with a one-arm choke right here, okay, and tap him. I don't need to take the back completely, all right? However, sometimes the guy might be able to dig his chin in a little more, and I might not be able to get the choke right here. No problem. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to get my chest as deep into his back as possible. Okay, so when I'm here, I'm gonna try to get in, okay, and get my chest as tight to his back as I can, as my hips come underneath him. Okay? Then from here, I can pull at the left as I turn and roll my hips to the left. Here, boom. And you can see I create a little bit of space. My bottom leg can come out. This hand that was controlling will now come control the wrist. Okay, and now I have his back right here. And if you notice, I also have his arm trapped. Okay, so both his arms are pinned. I got this arm stuck behind my leg. I have this hand by the wrist. So now my one-arm choke is devastating because there's no way for him to defend it. Okay, so that was the Avalon pin to the back take, finishing with the one-arm choke. Let's go over some mistakes that can be made when doing the Avalon pin and taking